Hey guys, this is going to be a first look, first cuts video featuring this knife, the Real Steel G-Slip. Knives like this are not something that I usually buy. I have nothing against slip joints. I think some of them are very beautiful. My first ever pocket knife, which my dad bought for me a long time ago, is this one. And it is a slip joint. I've carried this for some time, some good years, and I've used it and I never had any issues with it. However, nowadays that we have so many different locking mechanisms, and it's not about the strongest or the one which is most fidget friendly, but any locking mechanism, I think it's preferable to no locking mechanism. Now, I have one other knife from Real Steel, and that is this one, the Real Steel H6 Blue Sheep, and that's the first generation. I've had it for a long time. I don't think I ever talked about it, but I did carry the knife, I did use it, and it is a nice knife. Knowing this much about Real Steel and what I've seen from other people on YouTube, which I follow, I struggled with the decision whether to get this or not. And this was maybe at some point an impulse buy, but I really wanted it. I wanted the micarta handle scale version, but those are a bit tougher to find and a bit for me because I can't just buy it anywhere and have it within 1 or 2 weeks. And I wanted the yellow black version, but that I'm not sure about their coating. And I thought the satin blade was better. Now I did open the box about when I got the knife about 5 hours ago. I looked at it quickly and I put it back in. I didn't even open the, to be honest, I don't usually go through all the little things that you get to read, all the reading material, but I noticed it is packed in this little microfiber cloth, which seems to be a very good quality. My wife will surely appreciate it. And here it is. Now I did pick it up, I opened it, closed it, and honestly I thought it was going to be bigger. There is a compact version, the G-Slip Compact, and I looked on the box and oh, this is the G-Slip, this is not the compact version. It's lighter than I thought, and I have to say, the action is pretty nice. The first thing that I was impressed about 5 hours ago, like I said, was how thin the blade is. I like that. I think it's very rare to have folders which have such a thin blade. I mean, sure, beefy blades are always nice, like this one. This is really a beefy blade. It's very heavy, and you do have a nice shallow, well, a nice hollow grind. It's not that shallow. It's actually pretty deep right here. So it's going to be a nice slicer, but a thin blade is something special. And when we're talking about a slip joint, there is a nice model that I will probably talk at some point, this one. This is a San Renmu 9165. Pretty impressive. It's a slip joint, but you can convert it to a locking folder via this pen. And I think that is a great idea. First time I heard about this idea was years and years ago. Kylie Harris talked about it. I think he was still at that time building friction folders. Didn't manage to snag one of those, and I'm really sorry. So yeah, this is the Real Steel G-Slip, and I must say it's not really what I imagined from videos, pictures. Now I tried to find some test videos about this knife, and it was really hard. I found one video in French of one guy comparing the G-Slip and the G-Slip Compact and cutting a few things with them. Other than that, very few people actually did out of the box cutting tests with it. And I thought, hey, this could be a good idea. Maybe somebody else cares. Now, to be honest, I like the knife. It is very nice in hand. I like the slim blade. The simple handle design. I never had any Ostap designs. There are a lot of them, and the guy really has beautiful designs. I don't know, let's see, courtesy of my wife, I now have a small scale, either for drugs or knives. And I don't know how light this is. 78 grams. 78 grams, that's nice. Let's see, 2.77 ounces. Now I have metric and imperial. Fantastic. So 78 grams, that is pretty light. I would have really liked the micarta handle scale version. Now, there's some gunk here. I don't know what that is. Probably hardened thread locker? Not sure. One thing which I don't like, this is probably a T6. That kind of scares me. And this is probably a T8. I mean, it looks good. That's a bit scary. The action, you know, with slip joints, you're not waiting for a lot, but this one, the action is pretty smooth. To be honest, there is some side to side, but that's more from the blade being so thin and moving here. There's no play, actually, but it is a bit more flexible. And it does feel very good in hand. Now, a lot of people say that small knives are really not meant for big tasks. I'm sure you could do some big tasks with this one, but because it doesn't have a locking mechanism, you're probably going to shy away from some of them. However, cutting cardboard, as long as you don't bang the tip when you get through cutting, doing one cut, you bang the tip and close this. It has one stop. I've seen that from other videos. It has this stop right here, about 120 degrees, and then I would have liked it to have a few more stops. This is one slip joint that this was also a present from my wife. This is the Manly Wasp. I like this knife. It had orange scales. I dyed them, and now I've tightened the pivot quite a lot. And this one, I mean, if you want to close it, you're gonna have a tough time pushing this in. And if you have wet hands or greasy hands, you're not going to be able to open this. You can forget about this little nail nick here. You have to have dry hands or just have good traction on it so you can open it. And it has 3 stops. Even so, I didn't really feel very safe with the knife until I tightened the pivot to get this much friction here, so that I felt safe. And I did carry the knife, not as much as I would have carried it if it would have had a locking mechanism. This one has a very, very nice walk, and it really, I mean, the tension on the spring is very, very, very small. I mean, very soft. But yeah, the action is great. I'm not a reviewer or a user of many slip joints, so this is why I feel a bit out of my domain. But yeah, it is very pretty. Now, let's see sharpness. This I do not know. This one I bought secondhand, well, then I sharpened it. This is, once again, that thin notepad paper. It's a clean slice, good enough. It does not take hairs. I mean, not if you don't push. The tip does. The very, very tip does shave. The rest doesn't. It just takes the skin off. But yeah, let's see how steep is the edge angle approximately. I will probably put down in description after I actually measure it. This is how steep the edge angle is, which is honestly a bit steeper than I would have liked. Okay, so here's where it moves but grabs the way you can see it on the blade. And on the other side, well, at least it looks symmetrical. So from a sharpness point of view, I would say nothing impressive. Pretty much like 80% of Spydercos that I got uh, beneath what I got from Civivi. Sort of, I think what I got on the Crowley. I don't remember very well, but I think the Crowley wasn't shaving freely. All the Civivi seem to shave. Now, I do have, this is VG10 by the way, I do have my leather strop with white bark rubber compound, and I can strop this. Now, whenever you strop slip joints, if you push too hard, you'll get this. This is one other thing that I don't like. Now, you're not supposed to put a lot of pressure when you're stropping, but sometimes, you know, you have to take out a chip or clean a blade really fast, and then, yeah. So if you're not careful with slip joint blades when you strop them, they can be a good indicator. So if you don't know how much pressure you're supposed to use, stropping a slip joint like this might teach you to not use too much pressure. Because at this point, if I just push a bit too hard, I don't know how, but I'm not pushing very hard, so I'm fine. And I'm curious if I just strop this without really minding the edge angle or anything. I got it to shave, which is nice. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you can see those hairs, but you can probably see the bald spots on my hand. And yeah, now I got it to shave, which is good. So yeah, and you can control the cut just a bit better. So yeah, this is usually how some of the Civivis would come. Some would be a bit better, in a bit better shape, but nothing really to complain about. So far, I am liking the knife. Closing one-handed works. Opening it one-handed, it's going to be a bit more of a chore if you don't use something. I like this fuller here. You can really grab it very well. I'm not sure if I will try to do what I did with this one, where I put more tension in the pivot so I feel a bit safer, because I don't really intend to use this knife for hard tasks. I do really like the wire pocket clip, and wire pocket clips are one of my favorite things. I mean, for some knives, that's one reason why I wanted to get the yellow black one. It had a black pocket clip, and everything was blacked out except I think there's this little pin for the lanyard hole. But the blacked out blade, the coated blade, I'm not sure about that. I think this one is just way better looking, and I will probably reduce the edge angle at least to 15 degrees per side, maybe even less. So at that point, on a coated blade, it wouldn't look that good. Yeah, a knife that I never really thought I would get, but I was, but this knife did fascinate and did obsess me quite a bit. Now, once again, my Micarta handle scale version would have probably been so much better for me, but this one actually, I like the G10. It's really smooth. The compact version, from what I've seen, has a rougher G10. This one is really smooth. It feels good in hand. I thought about the ebony version. That one does not have a pocket clip or the cutouts for the wire pocket clip. A true gentleman's folder. As it stands, I must say it did not. I mean, it was kind of what I expected, maybe a bit smaller than I would have thought it was going to be. But it did not disappoint in any way. More than that, just seeing the stock of the blade, and let me just measure thickness behind the edge. So right now with that particular edge angle, this is really good. Really? This is 0.3 millimeters. That's 12 thousandths of an inch behind this edge. Now the edge might be a bit obtuse, but that is not bad. That is actually pretty good. Wow. Now I am impressed. Finding knives with a thinner grind here near the tip, 0.45 approximately. Still good. But right here on the body, 0.3 millimeters, that is good. That is good. Now I will put the exact edge angle it came with down in the description if you want to check that out. And I don't know if I'm going to ever do an update video on this one, but I will also probably, after I sharpen it, edit the description of the video and put at what degree degree per side I've sharpened it and how much was the thickness behind the edge. But yes, it took that much for it to impress me. Now, I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to do a second part to this, and that will be just cutting a cardboard box, a bit of wood, and a couple of pieces of rope. See how it cuts sisal and how it cuts a bit of jute twine. So stick around for, or come back again for the second part if you care about that. So far, if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.